Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Life channel. In today's video, it's the second part of our servicing day. We are servicing the Volvo, my favourite time of year. Now, I've actually let this go a little too long for my liking. It's been 11,000 miles since I serviced this, which for me is far too long. I like to service it every sort of 7,000 to 9,000 miles, just to keep the fluids fresh in it, keep it clean. Now, the actual official interval from Volvo is 18,000 miles, but for those of you who know, these sort of long intervals don't do the cars any favours. So yeah, we're going to be using the oil extractor again today with our dipstick that we fitted, just to make it so much easier. We're going to start off with our 36mm socket, taking the oil filter out and replacing that. Unlike on our Jeep Wrangler, we don't have any protection underneath for what's underneath the oil filter housing. So we've got here, as you can see, the alternator exposed underneath, so we're going to have to put a rag in there to stop any nasties oil going into the alternator, because that isn't ideal, and it's not a cheap thing to replace either. And we're just going to crack this off. There we go. There goes, that's the cap ready to go. I'm just going to get the other filter as well, so I can put it straight into the box. Okay, so here is the new filter cartridge, and we've also got an O-ring as well here. I'm just going to put those up out the way. And what I like to do is get the box ready, pull the oil filter out, bung it straight in the box. You can see there, we've saved ourselves a headache getting oil into the alternator there. Okay, so you can see here that I've actually pulled out the filter. This happens every single time, it's really annoying. I've actually pulled out the core of the filter that needs to stay in the car. So what we have now is this that's still in the filter. So I'm just going to pull it out. Here it is. Now that should clip back in to the cap here. Again, easier said than done. There we go, nice reassuring clip there. And what we have is an O-ring down on the inside here. I don't know if you could just see the tab there to remove it. So get some pliers, or if you see like me, just get your finger and you can pull it out fairly simply, like so. Now we've got the new one, just take a finger of oil, rub it round just so it can seat properly, lubricate it nicely. There we go. Hi mate, you alright?
Always doing something, you are.
That's it, I know, I never stop, do I? I've just serviced that and now I'm servicing this. So
Keep on top of it, isn't it?
that's it, exactly. Treat them well and they treat you well, isn't it? See you, mate. So there we go, there's the new O-ring in. Nice and simple really, which I like. Now the filter now just goes in, clips on like so. And I'm just going to sit that and rest it on there. I'm not going to tighten it down because it will create a seal, which means that we can't actually get the oil out of the sump with the extractor. So something to bear in mind. Something to do with science and air pressure, etc. So we're going to remove the dipstick, check the oil level. Morning, you're right. And you can see here it's nearly on max. I tend to go by this rather than the in-car one as well. So sort of the third row of X's up we're going to aim for. So we'll put this to one side, get our extractor ready and feed it in. Okay, so let's feed the extractor. I've had the car running, it's been out actually, so it should be nice and warm. The warmer the oil is, the easier it is for the extractor to remove it. We're expecting to get around sort of 6 litres out of the car, all being well. So pump the extractor here until it sort of starts giving some resistance, and then we know that we've reached sort of the maximum pressure at which it can do its thing. So I'll join you guys once the oil has been extracted, because it's just a waiting game after this. Okay then, so that's the oil done, and actually we've got a special guest arrived for the channel. Daddy DL. We still haven't found a better name for that, but it's still weird, isn't it? So that's the oil out. We've had 5.5 litres out, which I'm sort of happy about, really. 5.9 is the max. We've obviously taken the oil filter out as well. So now we can get this on, start it off by hand, just get the threads seated, just not doing. There we go. As it starts to tighten, we can then start to use the socket. There we go. So we use the socket now, and then all we're going to do, chuck the new oil in, and within 20 minutes we've had our car serviced with a full load of new oil and a filter. This is the way it came out so easily. That was a stressful weekend, wasn't it?
Well, it's everything goes really fucking well.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 25 Newton meters plus 5 to sort of get it reasonably tight, and then just that'll do there. Dad was just saying about our redneck repair, I'm going to call it, where we used we obviously used the standard Volvo bolts there. Stroke of genius, yeah. It was your idea, wasn't it? Yeah. So I just like the washers. I mean that bolt and washer for that bolt, it was a pack of bolts, wasn't it? And
yeah,
and the pack of washers was less than £2. So it's but the best thing is it is rated to the exactly same tensile strength. So in theory, should be absolutely fine. Perfect. So yeah, but you've just come up because I've nicked one of your saws, haven't you? So you need it back.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a job and I can't do it because you've got my saw.
So yeah, we're gonna go
bring it over yesterday.
Yeah, even though I went over to your house twice because I forgot. Yeah, so now you've had to come all the way over to me. Yeah. But yeah, I'll just top it up with oil now, make sure everything's okay, and that will be that. Okay, so I've put my rag in place for when I inevitably spill the oil. It's actually quite a long way to reach over. They've put the oil filler right at the back of the engine, which is a bit annoying really. But we're going to just start pouring it out the side of the bottle slowly. That's actually gone remarkably well.
Slip up and fall in it.
Yeah, I always do that. It starts off really well and suddenly I just get a jerk that just shoots it everywhere. And actually, at least the Volvo cap is slightly funneled shapes, so you have got something to work with. Unlike a Jeep, which was about the diameter of a bottle cap, and with no sort of filler neck or anything like that.
I like on the T25, it's like a telescopic tube that comes out that you've got to try and get the oil in.
Yeah, the Audi A2 had the same thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably the same part.
Probably is actually.
Actually, there wasn't that long in between them, was there? 10 years?
No, because that T25's got a lot of golf and polo bits on it.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I bet the original tyres are the ones that every Golf and Polo used as well, aren't they? Tyre size. Okay, so there is 4 litres in. Thank you. Hand that to my assistant. I know I put a poll up on the channel asking about which oil to use, and most of you, to be honest, said to just use the Volvo spec. So actually, this is exactly the same as what it says on the sticker at the front of the engine, so should be absolutely fine. But a few of you recommended some different ones, so I'm going to have a look and see what they're like, and perhaps we might use a different one for the next oil change, but for now we're going to stick with Volvo recommended Castrol. Despite the fact it is expensive, this whole service has probably cost me nearly £100. with oil and filter. So it's not the cheapest thing, but you know, can't have it all, can you? So there's 5 litres. Look out, now we've been joined by Mrs. DL. You got a bit cold, didn't you?
Did you? Have you been out here before then?
I froze her to death, so I did finish off the Jeep.
Oh, well done.
The Jeep sorted and started and was fine. We just got to check the oil level now. I've started it and let it drain, just to make sure it's okay, but it sounded so much better, so that's that sorted. So we've bunked 5 litres into this. Probably check the oil level now, see how it compares to how it was, and go from there. Okay, so that's 5 and a bit litres in, and the oil level is now sort of where it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, and I'm expecting the oil level to drop as the oil filter housing fills up. So let's chuck the filler cap back on. You can see here as well, it actually says Volvo recommends Castrol, so that's why I've always used it, to be honest. There we go. And it does make a difference if the cap's the right way up. Did you know that?
The right way up?
Yeah, it's an extra 10 horsepower. Because if it says Volvo recommends but it's upside down, then it's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I couldn't have it that way around. I'd have to have it right.
You'd have to have it right, wouldn't you? Yeah. It's a bit like this. I have to have it so the 25 Newton meters is at the top. Otherwise, it just drives you mad.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll check now on the electronic gauge in the car what the level is. As long as that's happy, then you know, life's good, isn't it? So to do that, all we need to do, put the key in, turn the ignition on without putting your foot on the brake, cycle through, and then we're going to use our little dial on the side here to go through. They're going to measure it for us. Engine oil level okay. There we are. Service is finished.
Awesome.
That was alright, wasn't it? I literally started that 20 minutes ago, so that's perfect. Just that's how much of a difference it makes heating up your oil. Oh, let's start it. Are we ready? Wow. That is so much smoother now.
When was the last time you did an oil change?
I was just saying 11,000 miles ago.
Yeah, right.
So the interval's 18,000, but it's a very long oil change, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
What's your BMW? What does that do?
I had its first oil change. Well, I went in for a service. 40,000.
40,000 on one interval.
Yeah. I don't
No,
think it's been before.
it must have been.
Must have been in about 24.
Unless because it's a hybrid, it assumes that you've used.
I don't know. I can't remember. Have I had it serviced before? Oh, I've had it serviced before.
Okay, that's alright. I've panicked then.
This is second one.
So it's 40k, so 20,000 again.
Yeah, 20,000.
Which because you had one of the first M Sport 1 series, didn't you?
Yeah.
When they came out in 2005, and that was 20,000 as well, wasn't it?
20,000. Yeah, it tells you, doesn't it?
It tells you on the dash. Yeah.
You got to service it.
And as a company car, there's no point doing it any sooner.
No, and it comes up. And it comes up. It comes up before the annual service anyway.
Yeah.
The mileage.
Come on then. And there's Mrs. DL. So yeah, I've concluded that as the video. That is the service done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next video. Cheers.